Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. The Outdoor Adventure Series celebrates individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, and access and enjoyment of the outdoors. Curt McAllister is our guest today. Curt is the Midwest PR Manager at Toyota North America and Outdoor Communications Manager. Curt, it's a pleasure to finally get you on the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast.
My pleasure, Howard. Looking forward to it.
Fantastic. It is, I think I've known you, it's now 3 years. We met back in, I think, Jay Peak, Vermont at the Outdoor Writers Association of America's annual conference last year in Casper, Wyoming. This year, we just got back from Gulf Shores at the conference, and I have to say, you have a really sweet job. I don't know about all the other work that you do when you get to go to these great conferences and just kind of talk to the members about the great work Toyota is doing out on the field, so to speak. I mean, you're just you got a sweet job there.
I'm blessed, Howard. It's I mean, I talk to a variety of audiences. I'm at the end of all, I'm still a product guy, so I deal a lot with the automotive media and the business media. But one of my ancillary responsibilities is dealing with the outdoor media, and I really appreciate and really love my work. I work with 13 different outdoor writer groups. OWA is one of those. But I feel like, I mean, I grew up in a rural part of Michigan, grew up hunting and fishing. So I feel like I'm amongst my people when I'm at these outdoor writer groups. I certainly feel it feels like family. So it's really one of the highlights of my responsibilities.
Fantastic. And I appreciate when you say you feel like family, because when you're there, it's like, oh, Curt, great guy. And by the way, you had the best trinkets on the table this year. Those water flasks, those were great. They came in handy. So I want to thank you for that. How did you get into the outdoor space? I mean, what would kind of share with our listeners a little bit about your background and how you ended up in this area of public relations and communication?
Well, I joined Toyota about 16 years ago. And about 4 years into it, I was actually introduced to the outdoor side of it by one of our agencies. It was called the Walker Agency out of Arizona. And at that time, they were one of the best outdoor practices in the country. And they were also one of our agencies, our supporting agencies, even on the product side. So their principal, Mr. Walker, actually took me to my first outdoor conference. And so with your background, Curt, you really need to get incorporated and indoctrinated in this world, because this is a subset of the media you've never dealt with before. And he was right. I went to my first conference. I fell in love with it. And like I said, here about now, 11 years later, I feel like I'm fully engaged and fully indoctrinated. What's an amazing industry.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned that you grew up in outdoor recreation, hunting, fishing, I imagine other outdoor related sports. How did that inform kind of what the work that you're doing today? Because you've got the knowledge and you've got the PR experience, you've got the automotive experience, and here you have this company that's very much passionate about outdoors, whether it's outdoor writing, the conservation aspects, which I want to talk to you in a minute. But how has all this come together to kind of inform the work you're doing today and is really kind of helping you stay energized? Because it's a hard job to do this work, but you're out there.
Yeah, I'm fortunate, Howard, because with our product offerings, we always have new things to talk about in the truck and SUV space. I mean, we'll probably talk about that in a little bit about
Yeah.
some of our latest offerings, but our trucks and SUVs were meant to go off road. They're just not meant to be pavement princesses. So we want to hear the stories about people taking them down the deer paths and taking them down the rivers and duning and pulling in their trophy from wherever they happen to be at. So we want to be part of that world. We want to remind people that we're a big part of that outdoor community. Like I said, my personal love affair with the outdoors, I mean, I see how my products come into play But I'm also discovering that there's also other things we can do too. We've in the last couple of years, we've supported 3 different documentarians on their things. So, even by supporting their endeavors, we're doing our part in the outdoor space. So, again, there's more things to learn and there's more opportunities to be taken advantage of. And for us, we appear to be the last automaker standing in the outdoor industry. The others have pulled away because of business decisions or budgetary cuts. So we feel there's a responsibility for Toyota to keep operating in this outdoor space.
Can you go a little bit deeper on why Toyota is staying committed to the outdoors in this industry? And it could, and I love the fact. I mean, your vehicles are out there. I mean, when I think of outdoor off roading, you're the guys. So,
Mhm.
why does Toyota have this deep commitment and want to continue this?
There's really 2 reasons, Howard. One's a business reason, which is, again, trucks and SUVs heavily lean towards people who like to be adventuresome, like to be in the outdoors. So we need to be around things like that, not only outdoor conferences, but our involvement and sponsorship of Bassmasters, the Major League Fishing series, is even NASCAR is just kind of staying right there in that fabric of America. People that would value our line of trucks and SUVs. The other reason why we stay engaged in the outdoors is because we feel we have a responsibility for the planet. We are, I think, a steward, a conservation steward now. We have to walk the talk. And I think that we've proven that over the years. We actually have a department within Toyota called environmental sustainability. It has nothing to do with our vehicles at all. And so they're the ones that partner with like the National Environmental Education Foundation for National Public Lands Day. We are also partnering with them on a pollinator program along that's helping preserve and grow pollinator habitats around the United States. And also, we are working with the World Wildlife Fund to help the Sioux tribe up in the Dakotas grow their bison population. Why do we do that? Well, we do that because we believe in the environment and we believe in helping people that maybe need a leg up. And in terms of this bison program, it's going to give these people an opportunity to grow it's from a business standpoint and actually feed their people with nutritious meals. So again, we put our hands in a lot of different pots. If there's an opportunity to help people, we're typically there.
I really want to chat about some of these unique projects that you're working on, or Toyota is working on as well. And I do want to get into the Bison project, but first, my beyond the conference, the first play, and obviously my knowledge of and awareness of Toyota as a brand and the trucks, the Tacoma, the Tundra. By the way, if there's a spare Tundra lying around somewhere, I'll take it off road for you guys.
Oh yeah,
I had to throw that in, Kurt. I couldn't not leave this podcast, but without throwing that in. But Chris Millgate, she a documentarian, Ocean, Idaho, and recently on Grizzly Ground.
right.
She is taking your trucks with the camper insert and off-roading and producing her documentaries. How does a relationship like that get cultivated, and how was Toyota what's Toyota's role in really helping obviously keep Chris safe, but also
Sure.
to get her where she needed to go? How does that type of relationship start?
Yeah, so that was really a relationship that was forged with some of the local dealers up in Teton, Idaho. So that's where it kind of started with. And being in that part of the country, it's all about the great outdoors. And so they saw Chris as an opportunity to be a great ambassador for Toyota. So they gave her a new Tundra that she could wrap in the emblazoned with the name of her program, the documentary, and we gave her some seed money and allowed her to go out there and for the better part of a year document whatever migration they were following, be it salmon, be it grizzlies. Because at the end of at the end of the day, those pieces come out. Again, we're not the focus of our documentary, but we're part of the flavor of it, and people will recognize that, and particularly people up in the Pacific Northwest. So Chris has really established herself as being a world class documentarian. So you want to be partnered with people like that because it helps with your own message.
What type of feedback do you get from the consumer, somebody like me who maybe have come across that documentary about the work, for example, Chris was doing,
Mhm.
what what is being shared back with the dealer or with the some other place where folks can kind of see your vehicle? For example, at OWAA, we have the vendor exposition towards the end of
Mhm.
the conference, and one of your trucks is out there. And
Right.
so, what is that feedback that you're hearing about, your dealers are hearing from folks that saw the Tundra being used in this documentary?
Usually it's very positive. Usually it's like, wow, first of all, congratulations for partnering with that person, that documentarian. But usually it's like it's great to see the tundra at play in natural environments. Again, just not on pavements, just not on the carpet of an auto show floor, but actually out in the wild where people want to utilize them. So again, it's very interactive for us in terms of showing what our vehicles are capable of. Because when you see Chris Milgate along a riverbed or out in the a tree line, people wonder, wow, the tundra had the wherewithal to get out there. So again, it's kind of a built-in testimonial on the toughness and durability of our vehicles.
I love it. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Bison Project. And I first heard about it this year at the OWAA conference. And what type of sponsorship or support and messaging is Toyota providing in support of this kind of a very important project to bring the bison back into our native plains?
So yeah, that's we're like 2 years into it now with the Wildlife Fund as well as the Sioux Nation. So again, our environmental sustainability department donated $300,000 to the cause. It is primarily going towards fencing. So, because again, you've got all these herds. And ultimately, they'd like to have over 1,200 bison here in the next couple of years, up in that particular part of the country. So you need a lot of fencing to keep them penned in. So that's kind of where we're playing a part as a partner. But we also send up our team members up there too, just to check on things and see what else they might need in terms of some sort of ancillary support. So again, Toyota is all about respect for people, all peoples, native peoples. And so, again, whatever we can do to help the World Wildlife Fund and the Sioux Nation prosper, we want to be there for them. It's an unusual project, we know, but ultimately it's going to be an important project because at one time, bison and buffalo roamed this country. Not anymore, unless they're in zoos or in petting farms. We're trying to change that for the Sioux Nation.
Fantastic. And I'm curious, and I want to kind of shift to one of the scholarship programs that are an annual part of our conference at OWAA. But I'm also curious about the messaging from going up your leadership in Toyota. I mean, this is one of the world's largest corporate organizations in the world.
Hmm.
Your vehicles are all over the world doing some really, I mean, they're as you say, the pavement princesses, but they're out there involved in some wonderful activities. What is the messaging you hear at the senior levels of the organization of why we need to be doing this work?
In terms of the scholarships you're talking about,
Well,
Howard,
and,
or
and we'll talk about the scholarships, but
okay.
in terms of the overall, why does Toyota care about the outdoors and the sustainability and the
Mhm.
environment, and they keep supporting projects like the ones that you're involved with?
Sure. And again, I think it boils down to it's a good business sense because the outdoor industry is still a multi-billion-dollar industry. So being part of that is important, and especially you want to reach those avid, adventuresome people who gravitate towards trucks and SUVs. And again, the environment, our North Star at Toyota is respect for people. Part of that respect for people is respect for Mother Earth. So we feel that we've got to do our part in terms of this environmental movement, in terms of making conservation be one of our pillars. It's We started our hybrid technology 25 years ago to help reduce the number of a bunch of carbon in the air, and hybrid technology now proliferates our entire lineup, including our trucks and SUVs. So we're doing our can we can even on the vehicle side. for sustainability purposes. So it's just an extension of what we can do, not only for the environment, but also for the betterment of this generation and generations to come.
Okay. Now, circling back to the conference, at least the OWAA's conference and the Toyota's Let's Go Places scholarship program,
Mhm.
how long has Toyota been a supporter and a sponsor of this scholarship? And perhaps talk a little bit about what is the scholarship as well.
Sure. So the Total Let's Go Places scholarship program came about 9 years ago through another organization, the Association of Great Lakes Outdoor Writers. Came to me and they said, "Hey, Curt, if you haven't noticed, a lot of our members are their median age keeps rising." And in fact, it was something I saw with a lot of outdoor groups around the country. The organizations were getting older, so there was a concern that without bringing new members in, particularly younger members in, that we could be in trouble in about 20 years. And who would write all these great stories and who would talk about the wonders of the outdoors if there's no one around to do it? And so we said, let's start a scholarship program where each organization, be it OWAA, GLOW, POMA, all these state-based organizations, they identify young people that might be in journalism and forestry, some related science that want to make they want to make a career of the outdoors. Let's identify them, and the scholarship money essentially pays their way to come to these annual conferences for registration, for accommodations, for travel, also the first year of membership. So by bringing these new people in, we are lowering the median age and really kind of creating an excitement around it. And the program's been really it's been exceptional from two standpoints. At the latest conference, the Glow conference that we just had up in Bemidji, Minnesota, we celebrated our 100th scholarship presented. And so now we've gotten past that milestone, and it's developed a lot of rock stars in our industry. In just less than a decade, there's some mover and shakers that are out there and doing wonderful things. One thing I didn't anticipate coming from this was I thought it was going to be a one-way mentorship where the seasoned veterans within these organizations would take these young people under their wings and teach them about the industry. Well, they did, but also these young people have they have a knowledge of tech and have a knowledge of social media. So all of a sudden he's teaching some of these veterans of print, hey, I can show you how to amplify your reach, amplify your stories by doing YouTube videos or starting Instagram accounts. And so there's been this beautiful 360 marriage of veteran members and new members. And like I said, I couldn't be happier with the way that this program is started and evolved.
I love what you've just shared. And that's what I love about the OWAA. It's not, for the sake of better words, old white guys hunting and fishing and angling. I mean, we've got gender. I mean, some of our
Mhm,
past presidents and leaders, including Milgate, who we mentioned earlier, these are part of some of the leaders, Christine
mhm,
Peterson, um, Katie McKillop, on and on and on, are just part of this organization. And each year, all these new members coming in. I think at the OWAA this year, I've never seen so many new members, and they're
mhm,
all young new members.
mhm.
And then it's a testament to the organization, the power of outdoor journalism, and also scholarships like yours who are helping to keep helping to pave the way to get new blood into organizations like this. You mentioned, the 100th scholarship a minute ago, and also just the great feeling of seeing some of these young journalists really starting to make a name for yourself. I
Mhm.
don't mean to put you on the spot, but are there a couple that just kind of jump to mind that you can speak about?
Sure, I mentioned a couple. Our very first scholarship winner was a gentleman by the name of Drew Youngdyke.
Okay.
And Drew was wrote and he worked in conservation. Now he's the director of communications for Trout Unlimited.
Right.
Think about someone like Lacey Joe Jumper, who works with Dina Vick and her agency, who handles just outdoor accounts. She's doing great things. And then there's a young lady by the name of Christine Fisher. I encourage everyone to go out there and check her Instagram account. Christine is this young angler. She's a kayak angler, and not only is she one of the best in the country, she's one of the best in the world. And she's probably all of maybe 24, 25 years old. She's a bright face in the angling world, and she's social media savvy. And like I said, I'm proud of these scholarships because I feel we've given these folks a little bit of a nudge towards their dreams and goals. But those three people in particular are really killing it right now in the industry.
Well, we'll definitely provide backlinks to their social sites so that our listeners can learn more about them. What are some of the new products or that Toyota is working on right now that are geared towards, activities out in the outdoor space?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So yeah, you kind of teed it up for me, Howard. Thank you. We're particularly excited. So right now we've got three products, all new products that are coming to market. So at the OWA conference, I brought the all new Sequoia in, which is new from the wheels up. And what's really revolutionary about Sequoia is now we've dropped the big V8 engine. We've got a turbocharged V6. We've hybridized it now. So now it's capable of well over 400 horsepower, could tow almost 9,500 pounds. So easily a horse trailer, easily ski boats, a bass boat. And again, we've taken that hybrid engine and taken it to our all new Tacoma coming out later this December, and our new Land Cruiser coming out next spring. So again, we're making them. Once upon a time, people thought hybrids are just for economy and just for fuel efficiency. Now they're part of the performance package because now you're pulling off another motor for power. And so all these vehicles have great towing capability. Now, the one thing about Tacoma that's neat is that we've started a new trim level called Trail Hunter.
Mm.
And so that's kind of to our reaction to the overlanding phenomena that's it's taken the country by storm. That we wanted to create these trim levels, these vehicles that are equipped now with things that people would retrofit with aftermarket products. We'll do it for them. And we'll by partnering with some of our good corporate partners, we can get that tent system. We can have the fridge. We could have the generator. We could have some of those off-road capabilities in terms of the equipment, the bigger tires, the skid plate, anything that people want to do to go off-road. And so now instead of people going and just banking their own money towards retrofitting their own rigs, we can do it for them. So that Trail Hunter series will start with Tacoma. You'll start hearing more about those accessories next spring. But again, we're just trying to do things to make things a little easier for people to go off-roading. One of the few silver linings that came out of the COVID pandemic, Howard, was it introduced people to the outdoors. It
Mhm.
forced everyone outside. And all of a sudden, as I've told people, the millennials and the Zoomers got off their phones and said, "Wow, it's pretty cool out here."
Right.
And so now they're leading the charge in terms of kayak sales and canoe sales, and so they want something to haul those around it. So now with our Trail Hunter series, we think that those off-road capable vehicles now are even more off-road capable and more importantly off-grid capable.
I have to thank you too, Kirk, as I teed up some of the new products that are coming down the pike and some of the great work that Toyota is doing. But my next question to you was going to be, I'm an off-roader, well, I'm not an off-roader, I'm a boondocker, a
Mhm.
very light boondocker. I'll go out for a day trip, go out to Death Valley or Mojave National Preserve. And I was curious about how you can outfit, your vehicles you know, to get them ready for people like me having the
Mm.
awnings and the generators and this, like you say, the skid plates, even the rooftop tents and the carriers. And I I I would like to think you're definitely gonna be helping people get really, if they haven't thought about it already, they
Mhm.
will now, getting out there and exploring, and the fact that you're putting these packages all together. I am curious about how many kinds of packages, or is it like maybe a shopping list, like, "Here's the things I want," and Toyota's just gonna do the installs?
So again, we'll have a number of corporate partners. We've kind of teased it a little bit,
Okay,
this trim level a couple of months ago. So
okay.
with the debut of Tacoma later this year, you'll learn out more about some of those accessories. But again, they have teased the things like the tent system and the roof racks. the more specialized roof racks, I should say, not just for bikes, but for things that are heavy duty.
Right.
Again, those generators, those refrigerators, those things will be available. And again, they'll be dealer equipped. So when the people go to pick up that Tacoma Trail Hunter, they'll have everything they want and need just to to go out and find their next adventure. But overlanding is big, and we understand that, so we're going to help people again find that next adventure.
Fantastic. And I have a feeling I'm going to be spending a lot of time on YouTube and on the internet
Mm,
doing some research, but I think it's just fantastic, and just the creativity that's going to go into making these vehicles even more usable, for the sake of a
mm,
better word. It's not just going to be from point A to point B, but it's going to
right.
be and then some. So I'm curious, Kurt, what do you drive?
I have a RAV4 hybrid right now, so I've got an
Okay.
all-wheel hybrid, and for my wife and I's use, it's great. But again, it's we actually have a woodland edition of a RAV4, which
Hmm.
is actually has a skid plate and actually has a little bit different tires. So we again, this is another vehicle, even though it's a smaller SUV, I could take this comfortably down a deer path or off road. So it's a great little vehicle, and it meets it meets the needs of my wife and I now that our kids have grown and gone.
Right.
But it's actually one of the more popular vehicles in the country right now.
It's interesting you mentioned the RAV4 is i- that vehicle is perfect for car camping because you can
Mhm,
get blow up mattresses that fit nicely. You
mhm.
throw down the back seats, and you got a nice space for a mattress, and you're good to go for a night or two out.
Yep.
So when you're not busy at some of these shows, or you know, are you doing any writing, or what actually share a little bit more about your work within the outdoor communication space and as a PR manager? Because and I know you work hard because you can't just be going to these shows and having fun and taking pictures with the awardees. So, tell us a little bit more about your day job.
Yeah, I mean, from an outdoor perspective, I'm always looking to forge new relationships with people like yourself, not only the writers, the photographers, but the influencers,
Mhm.
the conservationists. They all wanna have conversations with me because they all see how I could maybe interact in their world as
Mhm.
well. But yeah, we're always looking for ways to, through our newsroom site, totanewsroom.com, talk about some of the work we're doing with some of our partners, some of those documentarians. Again, Chris Milgate, but we also partnered not too long ago with Pheasants Forever and Matt Addington, who's a documentarian, a photographer up in Minneapolis. He actually did a documentary about one of our scholarship winners. His name is Ken Yang,
Mhm.
and Kang is interesting because he is a member of the Hmong community up in Minneapolis, which means they're more of Laotian descent.
Mhm.
And his story is that he grew up not liking hunting. He thought hunting was evil. But his father, who grew up as a native Laotian, he used hunting for sustenance. He used it also for recreation. So when they immigrated to America, his father kept trying to lure young Kang into the outdoors. Hey, let me show you how to hunt. And he goes, "No." So he actually gifted him a bird dog puppy.
Mhm.
and and from there, the dog's name is Kaya. So from there, it kind of forged this relationship with the outdoors, bridged this generational gap between father and son. And now Kang has become this great ambassador for the outdoors. So the documentary is called A Bird Dog Named Kaya,
Mhm.
and it's already picked up a couple of awards. So again, the Kang's family are all Tacoma owners. So they were kind enough to make sure their Tacomas were seen in the documentary. So for us, that was a built-in relationship. That was a built-in product opportunity. But again, we're helping tell a story. So again, we didn't demand that there had to be at least 40 cameo shots of that Tacoma in the documentary, but
Mhm.
just again showing it near the cornfield, showing the Kang and his family getting in out of it, driving it down the road. That's the type of exposure we're looking for from a product standpoint. But more importantly, it's helping us tell stories of the outdoors.
Okay. When you mentioned your kids are out of the house, so it's not bring your parents to work, or bring your kid to work day, or your parent, or you go into the school to talk about what you do. But do you ever have any young kids, college kids, get into a conversation like, I want to do what you do? How do I become a PR manager or communications manager? What advice would you have for them today?
Find out what they're passionate about. There's communications in literally every industry out there, not necessarily just automotive or the outdoors, but find out passion. Believe it or not, it all starts with being a good writer. It doesn't matter people are all talking about AI these days, all talking about what technology can bring to the creative sciences, but it all starts with being having a passion for writing and being a good writer. So again, I would tell people that in order to be a better writer is actually to be a better reader. And that came from my journalism instructor 35 years ago. It's like by being a better reader, you pick up diction, you pick up syntax, you pick up things subliminally you aren't aware of, makes you become a better writer. So it starts with that. And again, whatever swim lane is something that you're leaning towards, there's opportunities to be found. Yeah, and maybe not corporately, but maybe like in an agency. So I cut my teeth in the agency world. So again, it's follow your dreams, but again, if you're looking to do something in the communications vein, really try to hone those writing skills.
Okay. And what was it like going from the agency side and the writing side? But now, I mean, you and I are doing a podcast right now. So you're on camera. I mean, for our listeners, we're doing our Zoom meeting. Part of this is going to be posted on YouTube, but then there's the audio. But what's it been like to delve into this kind of media, whether it's podcasting or being interviewed on TV, and perhaps even being a permanent fixture on a show like an outdoor focus type of offering from local media? What's it like for you to have kind of stretched into those kinds of areas?
It's like be it be it presentations, be it speaking or interview opportunities, no one is great out of the gate, so you have to stub your toes a little bit. So I've been a media trainer for the better part of 20 years because I right out of college I was a journalist for 5 years. So
Mhm,
I know what it means to conduct an interview and sometimes a tough interview. So
mhm,
now I help prepare our executives and our engineers for interviews, be them friendly interviews like this one or ones that might be maybe a little bit angst driven or maybe something around a recall or something that you know that's an uncomfortable conversation. So yeah, it just takes a lot of time and trust and knowing your material and trusting that typically your instincts are pretty good. So it's I've during the course of my PR career, I've done over 100 TV interviews, many of them live.
mhm.
So yeah, as long as I know the subject matter, I'm usually pretty good. But like I said, I prefer these podcasts because typically these are pretty friendly conversations, and I'm doing more and more of them because podcasts are everywhere. In fact, podcasts have now taken over what I used to consider my radio listening time. I'll just scroll through my library of podcasts. I have like 15 or 16 I subscribe to. So when I'm on a long trip, I'll just stream it through my Bluetooth, and it's become not only a source of information but also entertainment. So ones like your Howard, I mean, how difficult it is to produce these things. So I give you a lot of credit for sticking in there and having such a great podcast yourself.
Well, I appreciate that and thank you. And I'll now not put you on the spot and asking you, is my podcast stored on your favorites? But we'll just,
Yes, it is. It is.
thank you for that. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Is there any advice if you look back in your career, and I know you have a long runway ahead of you, okay? But as you look back on your career, is there any advice you would give to your younger self?
By yourself, probably to be patient with the
Yeah.
career. Like I said, I got a degree in public relations in college, and I didn't actually uh, get into PR until like 6 years down the road. I spent those first 5 or 6 years actually in the journalism field, which was my minor. So I fell back on my minor.
Mm,
So as Americans, we're all thought there's this unfortunate adage or stereotype that if you don't make it by 30, what's wrong with you? So by the time I'd hit 30, I wasn't where I wanted to be. So I was a little bit down on myself and my career. lo and behold, a few years later, I found my dream opportunity, my dream job, and found a great mentor. And from there, my career took off. So I would tell people, if anything, just to be patient. Those opportunities will come if you keep working hard and networking and doing the right thing. Those opportunities will come. But these days, people want to be they want to be executives by 25, and it's unless you are a family member within a family-based organization, it's probably not going to happen. So, like I said, trust yourself and be patient to know that you'll get where you're going. It just takes a lot of hard work.
That's perfect, perfect advice on my side because as a someone who coaches in the career field, career coaching, career transition, you have to be patient, flexible, and recognize when there's an opportunity
Mm.
and be prepared to make that pivot. So I appreciate that sentiment. When you're not out there at the outdoor shows, when you're not just doing auto work, what do you do in your spare time?
Yeah. I, uh, I sit on 5 different volunteer boards, and so a lot of them I have a heart for nonprofits, so I
Mhm.
sit on several nonprofit boards to give my communications expertise. I'm very involved in my church. I'm a lay pastor at my church. And then a couple years ago, I got invited to join a college football staff at Oakland University. So we're right now in mid-season. So I'm an assistant on special teams, and I also am a co-chaplain. So all my sons are grown, so they're all between the ages of 20 and 25. So to be around 35 to 40 young men around my son's age is a real blessing for me. And so I'm able to give them a little guidance, certainly a little support, and so that's become a real passion for me, helping out these young football players, and more importantly, these young men.
Very good. Well, thank you for sharing that. And one last little personal question. So, you've got a pretty full life. So, you and your wife, where do you like to, when you want to get out and just unwind and disconnect, where do you two go off to?
Well, I've got family who retired to Florida, so we
Okay.
will go down to Ocala to see those family members.
Okay.
Um, my wife has family still up in Wisconsin, so up around the Menominee, which borders the Upper Peninsula. So we'll go up there on occasion. So a lot of times we'll just take off for a weekend and just go. Sometimes the best vacations are ones that don't have an itinerary. Sometimes we'll just my parents did this. We sometimes in the weekends we just get in the car, pile in the car, and we'll just go north and see what we could find. So my wife and I are a little bit like that. We like to be adventuresome and see what kind of things we can stumble across.
I love it. I love it. Now, before we head out, if our listeners would like to learn more about you and your work, where are the best places for them to go?
Sure. For Toyota, we have a wonderful media site called toyotanewsroom.com. And it's just not for the press, not just for the media. It's actually public domain. Anybody can go on there that has any interest in Toyota. So if you go on there, of course, there's going to be all kinds of product information, but also lots of tabs about what we do manufacturing wise and philanthropically wise and environmentally. So there's a lot of subject matter on there about all things Toyota. For me, I mean, I do have an Instagram page. It's Curt CRT dot McAllister McAllister. It's a kind of a combination of personal and work related things. But I would really steer people more towards our website, toyotanewsroom.com, because you can see what we're doing here, not only product wise in the United States, but what we're doing to be a good civic neighbor and a good civic partner.
Excellent. Now, and I just want to ask for permission's sake if I can take some photos from the newsroom website and use those for our collage on our show notes. That's okay.
Absolutely. In fact, anybody can do that. Again, it's a public domain site. So if people want to go on there and make the new Tacoma their wallpaper, I fully encourage it.
Okay. Fair enough. Listen, one last thing before we do head out. And normally I would ask before sharing of the website and social sites, and we usually ask the aha moment, which is kind of this moment, this epiphany moment when you look back and you say, wow, I get to do all this. And I know you had shared a little bit about some of the recipients of the Let's Go Places scholarship program and really some of those youngsters that are really crushing it today.
Hmm.
And then we also asked the Insight to Go, which you also talked about. You're in your spare time. which is football. So I guess it's maybe a little shift from the aha or the insight to go is, what final piece of advice would you or insight would you like to leave with our listeners about the outdoors, the environment, stewardship, products, the mission, Toyota's mission to support the outdoor industry and the conservation and the environment? What is, and I'm putting you on the spot there, Curt. I
Mhm,
apologize for that.
mhm.
But what kind of final insight would you like to leave for our listeners?
That that our time on this planet is limited, so I would encourage everyone to go outside and enjoy the outdoors. I know life wasn't meant to be enjoyed indoors all the time. We have a lot of distractions indoors, but I think people find a lot of joy in just taking a walk, particularly this time of year in the fall, seeing the leaves turn, just and just checking out paths near them. Or I can't speak any more passionately about the park system. There are some incredible park systems within people's communities that sometimes you don't even know are there. And so just when there's a beautiful day, instead of watching the boob tube, go outside and enjoy nature. You'll feel better for it, and you'll appreciate God's kingdom a whole lot more. I guarantee it.
I love that sentiment, and I will have to say I spend way too much time in front of my little box here, and I
Mm,
love what I do. But you're right. There's so much out there to be enjoyed, and just unplug, unwind, take a bottle of water, and just or a cup of coffee, whatever your drink of choice is, and just enjoy it. So thank you for sharing that, Curt.
mm.
It's been a pleasure to finally have you here on the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast, and I know this we've talked about it a couple times, and I'm really grateful that you're able to take some time out of what I know is a busy day, and just to spend time with us and share with our listeners about the great work that you and the Toyota is doing to support the outdoor community, and really just to, as you said, get us outdoors and go from being a pavement princess to a an off-road explorer. So thank you again.
My pleasure, Howard. This has been fun, and the congratulations on the success of your podcast and your coaching pursuits too. It's probably most of your listeners may not know, but you've won a fair number of awards with your podcast. So congratulations on all your success.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And listen, stay in the line. We're going to do a quick close, and then you and I can have a final chat. Okay.
Thanks.
All right, folks, we have just been chatting with Curt McAllister, Midwest PR Manager at Toyota North America and Outdoor Communications Manager. What a great episode today as we learned all about Toyota's passion and support for the outdoor community, the outdoor industry, and also the aspects of conservation and environment, and really all the work they're doing to help people get outdoors to explore and enjoy what's available to us. We also learned a lot about some of the unique partnerships that Toyota is involved with. We mentioned Chris Milgate, who's a mutual a friend of ours, who is a documentarian. Great partnership there in helping her produce her products. We learned a little bit about the partnership with the Bison Project. And if you go out and you visit the Toyota Network website, there's really a fascinating article there, which I just discovered as I was preparing for this show, on the conservation of the bees and the importance of the bees really in our life for that matter. And so some of the great work that Toyota is supporting. Now, if you would like to learn more about Toyota and the variety of scholarly work that they're supporting, such as the Let's Go Places scholarship program, definitely you want to visit the website as well. Now, to learn more about Curt and his work, go out to the Toyota newsroom at pressroom.toyota.com. And you can also learn about Curt specifically on his Instagram page, and we will provide a backlink to it. As for us, you can find us on the Outdoor Adventure Series uh, .com website, and you can also find us on LinkedIn and Facebook on our Outdoor Adventure Series page. We're on YouTube, and of course, wherever you listen to your podcast. Okay, folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there, have a phenomenal day, and we will see you in a future episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. Take care.